So before I get started, let's have a warm-up exercise. So for the following 3 questions, please raise your hand if you are satisfied with the conditions. So here we go, the first one. Please raise your hand if you have ever dreamed of studying at a top university of a country or of the world, like Peking University, Hong Kong University, Oxford, Harvard. Wow, it looks like everybody have big dreams. Okay, so let's have the question 2. Please raise your hand if you believe that you absolutely accept the offer from the dream university. Okay, few people raise their hands. Lastly, last but not least, raise your hand if you think that you might give up the offer and enter another university that might not be that famous. Okay, nobody, but so here is my story. One of this difficult question and decision is once made by myself, and here is my story. I'll start my story this way. Once upon a time, I was admitted by one of the 8 Ivy schools. It is my honor that Ivy League said to me, "Hey, Ollie, welcome." However, after a careful consideration, I made one of the most difficult decisions in my life. I finally decided to give up the offer. I sent an email to the admission office to thank for the appreciation. I made up my mind to follow my heart. Yes, I went to another university. This is the university that I've chosen. Pretty magnificent. So, what's the matter? Why is this important? So what? The reason that I want to mention this is that I have my own plan. I know what I want to do to pursue my future and what I desire. And this is important. It is critical to have your own plan, to discover your own future. A man who does not plan long ahead will find trouble at his goal. Who knows this figure is? Yes, it's Confucius. This sentence illustrates the importance of having a plan for individuals to pursue what kind of future he or she wants. Because decision is based on a plan and a future that one desires. So here we have the seeing the future in the left as the precondition and the prerequisite. The right side is designing a plan. That's because only when you know what kind of future you desire, and you could start to design a plan for your own, to pursue that kind of future, and make smart decisions that are conducive to achieve it. So the question comes, in order to design a plan, how to see the future in the first place? Here, I believe in order to see the future, one must first be aware of the meaning of life for him or her. And at the same time, this person must be rational. He or she must know what the rationality is. So, what's the meaning of life? To help you form your own idea of the meaning of life, I will briefly introduce the philosophical ideas of Plato, Aristotle, and Viktor Frankl. Plato's view of the meaning of life basically concerns about questioning virtue and class. It begins with the accumulation of human experience and it continues by asking good questions. That's because all of human lives are about questioning. This process takes courage, and courage is one of the virtues in Socrates' way of life, which is the embodiment of character. Among all the dialogues of Plato, the intellectual virtue remains most important for him. In describing the class structure, Plato clearly states that it is not arbitrary or imposed. It is based on people's talents, interests, and their shapes of education. And this is important. Through Through this process, people will find the class that is most suitable for them. And they will end up where their personalities and characteristics get the best fit. In some sense, people must courageously take the responsibility to make decisions for themselves in determining which road they are going to stay under certain conditions. And that's the meaning of life, about questioning virtue and class from Plato's perspective. Then Aristotle. For Aristotle, the meaning of life is about freedom, which can be further divided into deliberation, voluntary choice, and characterization. The basic idea is that one needs to develop virtuous character, and that these characteristics are part of the freedom. So, therefore, in this sense, it is preconditioned, but it is not a physical condition. Instead, it is a condition of choice and character. As people develop the capacity to understand their actions and the consequences, they will gradually understand it is the sort of enabling themselves to act. So here is the happiness. The three conditions of freedom and moral activity defined by Aristotle as deliberation, voluntary choice, and characterization. Based on the three conditions, it has to be deliberated. People must know what they are doing. For example, you will not randomly pick up something on the floor and put it in your mouth and eat it, because you know it's dirty and bad for your health. At the same time, it has to be voluntary and characteristic. And then, within this limited choice, this is where the deliberation steps in. So, deliberation is the primary mechanism by which people exercise their freedom, the virtue state of character and personal identity. This is important because it determines who you are as a whole and concerns with choice made by practical wisdom. Virtue, thereby, is the exercise of freedom that produces happiness, which is Aristotle's understanding of the meaning of life. Lastly, let's look at Viktor Frankl's meaning of life. Viktor Frankl is a Jew, and his book, Man's Search for Meaning, described his experience in concentration camp during World War II, during the control of Nazi. In the book, Frankl introduces his psychotherapeutic method, which involved identifying a purpose in life to feel positively about, and then immersively imagine that outcome. The book intends to answer the question, how was everyday life in concentration camp reflected in the mind of the average prisoner? According to the Library of Congress, this book is ranked as one of the 10 most influential books in the United States. They still have in Frankl's opinion, although the prisoners in the concentration camp were deprived liberty and right, they still have a freedom of choice. So, liberty and freedom are different. Man can preserve a vestige of spiritual freedom, of independent mind, even in such terrible conditions of psychic and physical stress. Therefore, out of an educated individual's responsibility, freedom is a right to choose own attitude under whatever circumstances or conditions. Therefore, this right is not able to be deprived since it is within people's soul. Therefore, liberty and external circumstances could be changed and removed. However, freedom, the inner mental experience, would remain in one's body, in his soul, which is the true part of an individual. That's Viktor Frankl's meaning of life. Treasuring your freedom, even when there is no liberty. Okay, no more philosophy. So here, who is right? Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, or Viktor Frankl? Actually, it really doesn't matter who is correct and who is not. The importance is what you believe and why you believe it. You need to form your own idea of the meaning of life and must be able to explain why you believe it. This might be a tedious process, but you must do it. Because that's the way for you to answer the universal fundamental question. Is the human existence meaningful or absurd? You must do this to see your own future. During and after the long journey of seeking the meaning of life, we also need to be rational during the whole process to see the future. So, what is rationality? I would like to borrow the idea from the bargaining model in the international relations theory. This idea is presented by Caitlin Talmadge, who graduated from Harvard and MIT and who was also once my professor. So, rational means using available information, weighing costs and benefits to determine utility. At the same time, you must stably rank the goals over time, although the strategies to achieve goals can change. Lastly, you must have the ability to accept the risks. So, even after goal could use the available information and the skills that it developed to make rational decisions every move, and then finally be our best goal player. Then, I would like to use my own example to illustrate 5 pieces. When I was making the decision between an Ivy and a non-Ivy university, I really made full use of every information that I was able to get access. Firstly, I would like to talk about academic interest. Although I was not crystal clear about my major choices, I know my academic interests include international relations, politics, business, and pre-law. So I made research into these 3 fields. Firstly, I looked into the international relations ranking. The non-Ivy school I am studying right now is ranked as the 4th in the undergraduate list and the 1st in the graduate list. Not bad. Then I continued to check the expectations for business field. Want a job on Wall Street? Go to UPenn or Georgetown. UPenn, Yale, and Georgetown. The 3 main groups in the Wall Street. Okay, check. Lastly, I have a passion for law, and I want to take the LSAT to enter law school. If Trump will attend Georgetown Law. Okay, President Trump's daughter is going to Georgetown. Okay, so not bad. So, by using the available information, I found that all my potential academic interests could be satisfied. So, this non-Ivy school might be a better choice. Then, I go ahead and look into the alumni. President Bill Clinton and our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Wang, check. Finally, I looked into the opportunities provided. So here's my university, here's the World Bank, the IMF, the White House, the Congress. It's all here, and I can get an internship here. Then, so this is a very brief introduction about the first piece of rationality, using available information. In order to see your own future, you must possess the ability to make full use of the available information. Then, you also need to weigh costs and benefits to determine utility. This is very important. Like in economics, you must know the opportunity cost, the marginal benefits, and the marginal cost to determine whether it is worthy for you to do this or that. To continue, you should have stable ranking of goals over time, although the strategies to achieve goals can change during the process. This means that you can have many goals, but you must also rank which goals is more important to you, and you must stably keep the goals over time, of course, in different situations. In order to achieve the goals, you could switch the strategies in different situations. However, this whole process must be stable. The last piece of the rationality is stable risk acceptance. That's because no one is perfect, and everyone will make mistakes. However, it doesn't matter. The importance is whether you possess the ability to stably accept the risks and the consequences from your decisions, and whether you can keep going after you suffered from failures. This is critical in the way to be rational. So, after we somehow perceive the meaning of life and the meaning of rationality, we could start to design a plan, just like break on the wood and play on the wood, and also the figures in the Game of Thrones. We could start to design a plan. Definitely, this plan should include a short-term and a long-term. It's the short-term like the weekly, monthly, and also the long-term like annually. But you must keep in mind the plans are changeable. These plans only serve you to better see the future. They are stepping stones rather than obstacles. Adjusting the plan to satisfy your potential and interest, this is crucial in designing plans and see the future. Lastly, there are 4 quotes for you guys. Firstly, please be aware that chicken soup might be toxic. Secondly, planning your own way of living. Thirdly, no one's success is reproducible. Last but not least, believing in your future and make it today. Okay, so here is the final question. Any guys know who said this? Yeah, it's me. So I encourage everyone to live your own way of living. As long as you keep your own way of living, you are able to explain to others why your own way of living is the best way for yourselves. You have seen your future, and you will succeed ultimately, whether it is today or tomorrow. Just wait and hope. I will finally come, and you will finally come, and you will finally reach there.